How it operates, I just haven't gotten to shut it off yet.
Yeah.
This is a hydrant valve.
And that's what, oh, yeah. It's
So you have the water, right? This is only, there's only a inch and a half ball valve down there, quarter turn.
Okay.
So all you're gonna do is turn it and then turn it back. Because all it's doing is getting that little bloop out of that line.
Out of what? The ones that you tape on it? Right?
Yeah, because there's a what do you call it? There is a keep it freezing. This is the electric.
Oh, you got an actual.
Yeah. I'll show you that.
I thought I saw that on the paper. I thought it was something like this, right?
Yeah, and you don't want to run that unless you know it's going to be like below 30. They say 32 degrees. I say 30 degrees because the water's not going to freeze that fast overnight.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because that heat tape takes a lot of energy out of the batteries, but it's a lot better than freezing the line and blowing it out.
Right. So you probably just hook up the Jenny on a night that it's really cold, right?
No, you can run it overnight.
You can run it overnight with the solar, and
just as long as it's not like this for a week.
Yeah, no, what's up?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so you give this a little quarter turn. Don't force it.
Yeah.
And it'll just give it a little bloop, and then you turn it back, and that's it.
And that's what's ever
in that line.
You got a little bathroom there.
So this is about 4 feet down.
Yeah, it's 3.5.
You can take this off.
What is that exactly?
It's a hydrant valve.
You just open that, and that's just for getting that last bit.
Yeah, getting that last bit out of the line.
There's like a dry well in here.
Yeah.
And this is like a hydrant valve.
Okay.
Like a fire hydrant.
Yeah, well, it looks like one.
When you open that valve, it drains the remaining water in the feed from the well into the dry well.
Okay.
All right. So there's no water above the freeze point.
I'm following.
All right, inside, come freeze my knuckle.
Yeah. And that cap that you would take off when it's during the freezing time, just to double check. That's that right there, right? Okay.
And if you look across, you can see that's the outlet
power,
and the plug-in
power for the heat.
For the heat.
Thanks.
So now, you gotta make sure you get the secretary in here. Yeah.
Got the videographer, the secretary, got the whole thing going on. Dream team. Right?
So now we gave the little bloop. Now we gotta take this off. There is this handle, right? A lot of times you don't actually need it. You just give it a little bit of that, but just to check and see if there's any pressure, that's what this is, relief valve.
Okay. And then once you open that, now it's draining.
Yeah, well,
not
a little bit.
Yeah.
It's sucking back. Might end up opening up that, what do you call it again?
The hydrant.
Yeah, hydrant valve.
Right, because this will feed to that, right?
Yep. So, go ahead and unscrew this. See if there's any little bit of drip. No, we're good. All right.
Cool.
You come over to the sink. Take out your old filter. Now this is going to have some muck in it. So what I do is you get the filter, you throw this in the garbage. You grab a water bottle. You don't put the muck in the sink. We're going to just put some water in here, swish it around, we'll take it outside, dump it.
Okay.
But this O-ring.
Yeah, it's like your sediment that's
that's
coming from the well, isn't it?
Yeah, you can pan it for gold, son.
Right.
So this O-ring, right? I'll show you what to do with that in a minute. Because I'm going to show you how to reverse this at the same time.
Okay.
So I didn't take the cap over. So put that in there. Bring this with you. It might have to do it a couple times. Throw this out into the yard. That's pretty much that. All right. Yeah, if you don't think it's going to be cold enough to freeze, like say it's your first time up here in April, and you don't think it's going to freeze past April, you can leave the water on. Well, not on, because the electric's going to be off, but you don't have to drain it all the way down.
Yeah, you don't have to.
You might want to take the pressure off the tank,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't have to do all of this stuff. Now, the filter, right? The only reason why you have to change it, I tell you to change it every time that you come up, is in the winter, because it's full of sediment. Whenever you're not here, it's going to dry. It's going to turn to concrete.
Yeah.
And it's going to clog the filter.
Yeah.
But if the filter stays wet the whole time, then you use it like normal, 3 months, which
Just in the
yeah during the warm
time.
But all right, say now we're going to reverse this a little bit. So get your other cap on. You're showing up to camp. Get a little piece of paper towel, clean out this little edge here, right? It's going to have a little caca. You get your, I shouldn't have thrown that away. You get your O-ring, right? Clean this off. Now in here, silicone. You get just a little bit on your finger, smear it around. A lot of guys, these are spares of these.
Okay.
Now, a lot of guys, they think more is better. It's not. Not with O-rings. So you bring it around and make sure that the whole entire thing's glossy. And then that's it. You don't, like, people have...
You don't need to see any splits on there.
Yeah, no stalactites are hanging off. You know, and then you get your new filter, you drop it in, you put this on top. You do not force it into that ring. There's a bevel in there which seats this. So you do not have to sit there. I would sit here for a fucking hour trying to get this to fit.
Right.
And I'm like, we gotta go to Rome, we need a new washer, you know. And then I decided to watch YouTube, and it's like, oh, I don't have to do that. It has its own thing.
Isn't it amazing how many videos you learn from people on there?
So that's how you reverse that.
So that's only when you're coming in. So you leave that like as is like that now, because
Yes, we're going to get back to that in a minute, because there's another thing you got to do. There's always a little bit of extra water in the tank, and that'll end up burping down. So I have a funnel thing that we hook up, so that whenever it burps down, it doesn't fill up that line going to the hydrant valve. Because if it does, it's going to freeze and going to cause problems. So you go in here and you pick a cup. Pick a cup. Any cup. Oh, Ridx. RID-X.
Yeah.
One of these cups, every time you come up, I literally just ran out. I just did it whenever we first
Or just
came
one
up.
bite is a good one too.
What's that?
Just one bite is it's what we use
What-
too.
any-
Yeah, it is. It's good.
Any of them.
We have to use them at our camp too. Take them myself.
That's a liquid?
Just one bite is a peanut butter bar. It looks like a peanut butter bar, but if you have dogs, you got to be careful because you don't want them to eat it. But if you don't have a dog that you're bringing up,
Yeah,
or
the
just make
Ridx
sure you put it away.
The Ridx is like a powder,
Yeah.
and so whenever you're pouring it out, you can get somewhere, but don't get a liquid because it can get literally -40 up here, and you don't know if it's going to freeze. If it freezes, it cracks. That's like, you see how we put our water in a tote?
Yeah.
Because the water will freeze, and maybe it'll blow a bottle open, and you don't want it leaking out all over the freaking place or whatever, like that. In here, there's this bucket underneath this P-trap. The P-trap doesn't leak, but this is why that's there. So this is flushable antifreeze. All right, it's for RVs, RV antifreeze. There's a brand new case of it in there. The case has 6 in it. You only need one of these. All right, 1 cup. Now they say this stuff does not freeze. They fucking lie. Because we've come up here, but then again it was like -40. This is supposed to be down to -50 degrees. We came up -40. This thing was like a fucking brick. You can bounce it down the road.
All right, so
But this will not expand like water does when it gets cold. Very slowly pour this in because you want it to fill the P-trap and not get flushed out. You want it to fill the
You're
P-trap.
pulling it in there.
Yeah. So you slowly fill up the P-trap, 1 cup under here. Now, the reason why that's under there is because in the winter, well, once again, I'm lazy, pretty lazy. I put it there once, and I never took it out from underneath there ever again. Because what ends up happening is, you can see here, see that?
Yeah.
That's a buildup of this stuff.
In there.
Because it'll push.
Finding its way, trying to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's trying to push its way out. It doesn't expand as much as water, but it still tries to find its way out.
Okay. So that's,
So
that's why you got that there. All right.
Yeah, so I just left it there. Now you take the rest of this. The whole entire thing goes into the tank. Alright, so you got the whole thing in the tank. And I always end up leaving that there because I'm, once again, I'll get it next time. Okay, I'll leave this open so you can see. But I always end up putting the lid back.
Yeah.
So, anybody? Last shot.
Final flush.
Final flush. Just hold this open. Because you want all the residual from in here to be able to get over here too. So there you go. So now you're winterized. Like that. Now all the valves, all your dumps stay open. Now say you show up and it's uber cold in here.
Like one of those -40 times.
And you go to move one of these valves and it's stiff. In the junk drawer is a propane torch.
Okay.
And propane. So you hit it just enough. Don't cook it because it's PEX. It's going to melt. Just enough to heat it up so that you break whatever ice or whatever's in there and you're able to move it.
I gotcha.
We had in the past shut the valves, but the next time we went up, 3 valves had blown out because they still had a little bit of water in them that froze them out and blew the valves apart.
I hear you. You found that leaving them open is the...
Leaving them open is the way to go.
Now, in a -40 situation like you're talking about...
That would only happen once.
But it does happen, man. Just like Yvonne told me one day her family shoveled steps down to the door.
We literally do.
You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
at our camp we shovel under
That's
ours.
another thing. There's
Yeah.
a snow shovel.
It's about -20.
Yeah, I was gonna say
So
usually
my
it's about.
question though is,
Alright.
I don't worry about that toilet freezing on a real night, that once in every 10 years cold. Is it possible?
While you're here,
Not while you're here, but when we let's say we
if it's
we do it like that, and let's say we
That's
decide to
it.
come back
You're
in
fine.
January, and it's fucking good chances that's not happening, right?
no, it's not
No,
gonna.
that-
As long as you have the pink in it.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, we've never had that.
Okay.
We've never
we've
at
been
ours
here 10
either.
years.
Actually, I mean we've
No.
had that camp for over 50 years, and it gets
Yeah.
colder up there than it even does.
Just as long as you have the
here.
pink in it. If
Yeah.
there's water in it, it's going to be in like 30
Yeah.
pieces because it's going to explode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the antifreeze works. The only other option you have is to use air pressure and blow the lines out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another whole project.
But you still have to have something in the toilet. It's either that or you're going to come in here, it's
Yeah.
going to smell like a poo poo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
in the winter, when it's cold outside, leave this open, right? Because you want the heat to get in here, right? And then if, like, it's really,
I'm sorry to cut you off. Even when you're up here, you leave it open just because.
well, it's
It
winter.
can't hurt. It's winter.
Yeah,
Might as
when it's
well.
winter, it's cold.
Yeah.
You know, it's better to leave it open.
Mhm.
And then, like, you'll notice, it's like freaking daylight in here. Like after at night and your eyes settle down, right? You got all white,
Yeah.
and then you have the LED
Yeah.
from that.
On that. Yeah.
There will be like a red mirage coming out here, and then also too, you get the light that comes out of here,
Mm-hmm.
and then the light from the other heater,
Yeah.
right? It's
Optical.
It's kind of bright.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I see
it
what
may
you're
not
saying.
seem like it,
But you
but
can
it's-
maneuver about in
but
the
you
darkness.
can, yeah, you
know?
pretty much maneuver.
Yeah.
Normally we end up,
Do you feel that you take off some of that power that would go elsewhere overnight sometimes like that, just to
not really.
you don't even really concern yourself with that?
No.
In those 4 or 5 days you're up, all right?
No.
Can't hurt. Oh,
The only time when you have weather like this for a week, you know you're not generating a lot of electricity.
I'll
so
show you
don't
how to
charge your
check that in a
batteries.
minute too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but normally we don't run anything big up here.
Yeah.
We run the radio and
Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
that's the point also. You know what I
unlike
mean?
our
You hear-
neighbor, he's off the grid, but you see the satellite TV truck going up and down the road looking for his driveway.
You're off the grid.
Yeah, he's got a cell phone
He's watching
signal
ABC.
booster.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
off the grid.
But in the winter, when it's not winter,
Mhm.
at night, normally we have this shut. I don't know if you guys plan on sleeping up there
Oh, yeah.
or whatever you're doing.
Totally.
All right, so we don't do that because once again we're kind of lazy. We don't
Yeah.
want to climb stairs. So that's why like my brother who's like 6'2" and 300 pounds, he usually takes the top bunk,
Yeah.
which scares the shit out of me.
With me too.
I hear that.
But and if you planned on taking these down, they're just screwed in. The
Yeah.
floor goes all the way underneath them.
Yeah, it's
Well,
like it's not even there. If you
Yeah.
I hear you.
And if you
I-
actually wanted, you could put a wood burner over here. If you wanted. It's just
We love the
we have other cabins,
Yeah.
and we've learned we don't like cutting firewood.
Mm-hmm.
So if we don't want to cut firewood, we've got to have some other way to heat the place. And to do that, well, there you go, propane.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's
And under this one, the top lift's open. We use it for storage. We stored the blankets and sleeping
that's smart.
bags and
Yep.
pillows in there.
Okay.
but whenever it's really cold outside, there's no heat in here. There's no heater itself.
Yeah.
So leave the door open and
Some
let
reason-
some heat go in here.
Of course.
Now whenever I plumb the place, the water lines go right here, right, and then down. I tried to keep them all out of the exterior wall
Mhm.
because exterior walls get cold.
Right.
And you don't want them to freeze.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to put the plumbing in this wall because you needed the exhaust for the heater,
Yeah.
right? So it had to be over here. Now, if you're up here, it's really, really cold. You look at this, right? And this, once the heat cools down, it'll give you the ambient temperature of the water that's in this box.
Okay.
Okay, so if you see this and it says that it's like 40 degrees,
Mm-hmm.
right? Go over to the sink, turn the hot water on, and the hot water plumb will come up, go along the regular water lines and heat them up. And then it'll bring their temperature up, so you have less likelihood of anything freezing. Same thing with this. The water lines, the hot water line travels underneath the cold water line. I did that on purpose so that heat rises and it'll stop that from freezing.
It's little things like that. Well, you said you guys own a couple of cabins.
Yeah, we've seen this before.
So you're you've kind of learned a few things.
And also too, like whenever we were buying, I had just retired from the fire department, and he was already retired, living in Virginia. Whenever he called me up, he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing." It's like, "You want to buy property?" All right, whatever. So we were living in Orange County, me and my wife. I was New York City fireman. He was a retired New York City fireman also.
Oh, nice. My uncle was a chief in the fire department.
Oh,
James Daly.
oh. I think I know that guy.
You probably do. He just retired like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
actually pretty funny.
James-
Ask him it next time you talk to him. Say,
Wait,
do you know?
no, I did say your name, and he recognized your name.
Yeah,
He
I was
did.
gonna
Where-
say, I think he
he
recognized
did,
the
right?
name.
he retired at Rescue 3. I was in 4593. I know James Daly. He was a battalion chief.
At the time, he was probably was a battalion
Yeah.
chief.
So-
he made it to.
And depending on his age, he might have worked with him as a fireman.
Yeah.
No doubt, he started in like '82, I think, in Manhattan. Is when he
Yeah,
first
I'm off the job 20 years.
Okay.
I went on the job in 74.
In '74.
Got laid off in 75, and then
Huh.
I had 9 years on the job when I went to the rescue. I did my last 15 years in the rescue.
He
Started
I
in
remember
Spanish
before.
Harlem.
Yeah.
Got laid off, went back to Spanish Harlem, went to the South Bronx, back to Harlem, back to the Bronx, up, couple of trips. And then I was back in Harlem and things were quiet, so I said, let me throw a paper in. So I put down Rescue 3 as my last choice. You have 6 choices on your transfer request. So I put Rescue 3 down, and the guy at the desk in headquarters calls the captain of the rescue and says, some knucklehead's looking to go to the rescue. So I knew Captain Ryan. He was in 26 truck in Harlem, so I knew him from Harlem. So he happened to be working in 14 truck, and he calls me in the office. He goes, you want to go to the rescue? I said, I'd like to go to the rescue. I don't think I only have 9 years on the job. Usually you don't talk to anybody unless they have 10 years. I said, all right, I'll give you a shot. So May of '83, I went to the rescue, and that's where I finished.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
That's really
Maybe he did rescue at some point. You guys ran across each other. Maybe not.
I might
There's a
have
lot
saw
of-
him with some jobs.
I remember saying Hugo Harold to my uncle and going, Hugo. And right? This was a couple
Yeah,
weeks
yeah.
ago.
He's like, the name sounds familiar, but he couldn't like really place it. But he seemed to
Yeah,
know.
we just came from there. He's got 70 acres in Margaretville.
But anyway, so he calls me up, want to get property. All right, we'll go take a look. We drive up. Now, our other places are not as nice as this. Like 100 yards to the outhouse, and pump for water. Not very creature comforting.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're looking at the property, and we look up the driveway over here. And there's my mom and my wife conspiring against us. And we go up, and mom and my wife are like, so what do you think? We're like, yeah, this is nice. We'd go check another place too, but this is nice. Like, we got demands. I'm like, what? Like, we got demands. The other place, like, it's not Knotty Pine, it's OSB. It's just plywood, interior and everything like that. They're like, we want running water, we want a shower, we want to be able to sit down and, sit down on the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
I thank them
That,
now.
and we're like,
Right?
Exactly.
we're like, okay, all right, if you got to twist our arm.
Whatever
But
works.
that's how we ended up, like, civilized.
Yeah.
Well, there's
Yeah.
nothing nicer than being at camp and being able to get up in the morning or whatever and just take a hot shower. It just makes everything so nice.
Oh, yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
good stuff.
I could sleep on the ground. I just can't get
Can't
up
get
in the
back up.
morning.
Yeah, exactly.
We did all that winter camping out in the woods,
Mm-hmm.
out near Pillsbury Mountain, the Adirondacks, in a lean-to,
Freezing your ass off.
carrying a roll of plastic to cover up the front of the lean-to so you
Yeah.
can start a little fire and
Yeah.
get some warmth.
Yeah.
We were up there. Tom Conroy had this dog, Butchie. He was so ugly, he was pretty. He was part, I guess,
Irish
black
Bull?
lab, Irish water
Okay.
spaniel. He's mixed breed.
Yeah.
But he was big. He's like 90 pounds. We're in the lean-to, and I feel something push up against me. I'm in my sleeping bag. Next thing I know, I'm off my mat,
Ah,
and
He's got-
Butchie's like shouldering me over.
He's got enough weight
that's
behind him.
funny.
He used to pull his own sled.
That's
Oh, yeah.
cool.
Yeah, until he
Yeah,
saw
it
a
was
fucking
bad.
rabbit.
Oh,
There he
gone.
goes.
Yeah,
Oh my God, that's funny.
he'd come by. We were at the Claryville camp. Butchie went out, and we heard him yelp, and he came back. He tried to take a bite out of a porcupine.
Oh jeez.
Oh,
He had
that's-
quills through his lips, through his tongue.
I've seen that. That's not a.
Tom is like, you stupid ass.
And they
I
don't
ain't
learn.
leaving. Go lay down somewhere.
Yeah. Oh dear.
But yeah, other than that, for shutting down, just turn the gas off to the heater, turn the gas off here, turn the gas off behind the stove. Everything's open. Empty the teapot before you do the sink. Gotta pull out the stove. Don't go nuts with it.
Yeah, 'cause it's still a copper line.
Yeah, it's copper coil.
Switch that off.
You know, don't force it all the way back.
Yeah. Because there's still all of that coil.
Yeah. You know what this is?
Oh yeah, I do.
No.
I know you know.
I do not know.
Oh come on, Ryan, look at it.
I mean, it looks like fucking something.
There you go.
Yeah, I know it goes there.
What would you use that for? Think about it. What would fit on those little things? I want to start the Jeopardy song.
Yeah, I know, right? That one, right?
You're out of luck.
Please enlighten me.
It's a toaster.
It's you put toast
Oh
on it.
my
Put your-
goodness, that's such
What?
a duh toaster.
Put your
Yeah.
pieces of bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have to look and see. Okay, that side's done.
Yeah.
Flip.
That's
I
what
would have
it is.
never guessed that.
That's
Also-
funny.
See this?
Yeah.
If you ever have real power come up the road, this is where your smoke detector goes. Because you have to have one
By
smoke
phone.
detector that's actually a hard line.
If what you have real.
If you have real power.
If
Yeah.
you have real power come up the road.
I think
there.
Over here you have your smoke detector and your carbon monoxide detector.
Mm-hmm.
Smoke detector does not like toast.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's like our apartment now. We cook a steak in it and I smoke along.
Yeah.
Put the air fryer on. the whole house
Forget
is
it.
going
Yeah.
off.
Well, the last time we inquired about power coming up the road, it was like, I don't know, 25 grand.
Yeah.
To get to all the way to here.
Just to get to here from
Right. Yeah, it's expensive to bring it up. That's why it'd be good if you could get a couple of people on
I
board
know.
to do it. It'd be nice.
Yeah.
It's also attainable, also though.
It
I
is.
was-
Well,
I was-
that's just it. It
I was
is.
afraid you were going to say something like 80,000.
Yeah. No, that is obtainable.
I guess there's a lot more people on the road now than there was.
Up on this collar tie, there's
Yeah.
hooks, so you can hang snowsuits or gloves or
Yeah.
hats or whatever off of that. And it looks like it's
Oh, okay.
high up until
It's
you
not.
stand up here and you realize,
Yeah.
oh,
You're hanging it up right there.
right there, right there, right there, right there. Now, if I were you, maybe you think about getting a smaller fan
Because it interferes.
because yeah, it ends up in that.
Mm-hmm.
This was before we thought, a lot of this was trial and error.
The way you've
Figure
been
it out.
explaining to me too is like you did a
We've-
little at a time, kind of found
These
your way
cabins
along.
after?
What's that?
Did you do these cabins after? Like these 3 cots? Like did you
Oh,
did,
we
like, the forward versus
no.
like-
This was already a plan.
Oh, okay.
That was already a plan. Our other cabin has those.
Okay. No, I
And
love that.
There's let me see. How many bunks are in the other?
12, 15.
There's a
Because
lot.
that's a real. I said.
It's a hunting club.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah. This definitely has a comfort to it more compared to that. I hear you.
All right, so let's see. Gas is shut off. Gas is shut off. Gas is shut off. Water is drained. Toilet's done. Sink is done. You always do like a little mental checkup.
Yeah, always.
Grab the garbage.
Grab the garbage. Me personally, I always leave a light on whenever I shut off the power. Because if you come in at night,
At least one light will turn on.
you
Yeah,
go
I
to
get it.
flip the switch. You
Now
flip
you-
the
you
switch,
got
and then
your
the
light.
power will come on.
You want this tea handle?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So what we're gonna go do is go outside, and I'll show you how to shut down the generator and wrap that up. Nothing really for you to see.
Can you come up
unless
with any questions?
I just want to measure those.
The
and
red
that
hat.
upper piece.
Yep.
What's that?
This
It's 15 by
just
15 up there.
Oh, that's 15 by 15.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
What, the windows?
No, the
No.
like the floor. I was thinking about getting a rug.
Oh, you know what? If you go upstairs, there's laminate flooring
Oh, is
still in cases up there
Oh.
that we were going to use for up there, but we didn't use all of it. And that's like the cheap
Really?
shit.
Yeah.
The original cabin was 16 by 20.
Okay.
And this used to be the old porch, and then we closed it in. And then we had
That's
another
right,
porch
right.
because we're like, oh shit, we don't have a porch.
You need a porch.
Yeah, the porch is everything. I love how nice and big the porch is.
Mhm.
Great job. And are
That's
the
a light. That's a light
mattresses or
31
the
inches.
things that you have in there, are they twin size? Like,
Well,
No, they're a little
They're
smaller.
They're
These
smaller.
these were a queen size mattress from an RV. Well, there's a guy down in town. What the hell? The mattress maker, Mattress Makers is the company.
What, in Rome?
And I think it's in Cicero.
Oh.
There's a place called Mattress Makers, and they make all sorts of mattresses. And I told them, I said, I need, I gave them the measurements, and they're like, oh, well, all that you really need is a queen size
Cut.
mattress, and we'll cut it in half,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then like that. Except this one was a little narrower, so they had to cut an additional 4 inches off of it.
That worked.
But if you go, like, what I was originally gonna do was go to a seamstress and give her the dimensions and say, hey, I need
Right.
covers for this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we've been using sleeping bags forever, and then all of a sudden my oldest son, who's gonna be 18, he turned into a prima donna, and he started bringing up sheets.
Yep.
You know, so he'd actually make his bed. He's got sheets and a blanket. He's like, I don't need to sleep in a sleeping bag. I'm like, whatever. You know, go
That's
screw
fun.
around somewhere else. But here, I'll show you how to shut
Yep.
down the
Yeah.
generator. All right, so we have nothing running on the generator right now. Now I just want to be loud. The generator, whenever I have it running and we're in here, I close the garage door to about the level of the exhaust,
Yeah.
so it's not as loud. But what we're going to do is we're going to go over there, we're going to shut off the fuel, and we're going to let it run until the fuel runs out of the
That's what it's
carburetor.
supposed to do.
Because if not, it can get gummed up and then you're screwed.
You think of anything that is? I can't.
I think you're doing fantastic, and I've got everything. I'll YouTube it for you, and then you can
Whenever we
watch
had
the
the
whole
porch
thing.
put on, they put these ramps on because they thought that we were snowmobilers.
Oh,
So they're like, oh yeah, you just pull the snowmobile right up on
Right
the
up
porch.
on
I'm
here?
like, we don't snowmobile.
I was just gonna say it's pretty handy though. It's a good feature.
Same thing. Now, this is a male out, a female. So like, you see that notch?
Yes.
Whenever you plug it in, you have to find the
Line it
notch.
up with the correct one. Yep.
Right. But now we're gonna pull this out of the little recess.
Well, that's nice how it tucks into there.
Yeah, right?
Very good. Keeps it out of your way. So
Another
you're
thing you can do is you could always have somebody put in underground conduit.
yeah, you could. That wouldn't be a big deal to do either. Although
And
this
by
works.
that, I'm gonna dig a hole in.
I mean, really, yeah, I was gonna say it'd be no big deal, but a weekend project, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 400 of them there. Yeah.
What's that, Jeff?
Three blocks of property line.
Those red dots
Red dots.
all the way around the thing.
Well, we got most of it done. We got it done to the end.
And that way.
And coming back this way, the only thing that was questionable, along the stone wall there, you can follow the property line, and on your left-hand side, you'll see a cabin.
Yes.
That's Jack's cabin, Doc Hollywood. And right in that area, there's a pin, but we couldn't locate it. And that's the only spot we couldn't locate.
Okay.
But-
Where it does that.
Real quick,
Well, it goes,
in the junk drawer, there's
Yeah.
a little Allen key that looks like a P.
Okay.
The reason why we have no mice, the rule is kill them on the outside. This box has poison in it. So you have this Allen key? You know, I'll just go get the Allen key and I'll show you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll go get it. Here, give me a minute. There's one underneath there
Yeah.
in the
Oh,
middle.
you gotta go.
That one's chained up because if you don't have it chained, something will
Put the
steal.
mice in it, yeah.
Huh.
Well, there's no
Well,
mice in it.
they'll try to steal it. Like raccoons and stuff, they'll try to get their hands in there.
Sure, try to get
And
the
they'll
mouse out.
take the whole box. We got to chain to the post.
That's smart.
Definitely smart.
You gonna change to snow? A little chilly.
Up here, yeah.
I know, right?
Well, I spent a lot of time at Fort Drum when I was in the National Guard, and it's like coincidental military place.
Oh, it
you
sure
could be
is.
knee deep in mud and get dust in your eye.
Yep. Isn't that funny?
We send all the mice to his place.
We
We
we were up in Drum like the last week in May. It was 70 degrees out when we got up in the morning. It was 32.
Oh, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah.
The whole reason why it's screwed shut is because, and then there's these little prongs on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see how the poison has that hole in it? That's so it fits over those little bars.
Oh, yeah.
And that's so that they don't take the block with them.
Seriously, clever idea.
We hate mice.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's
We-
perfect though. That's great. Actually, I have to look into. Where'd you get the box?
Running.
Runnings. I'll have to check into that because we put the Just One Bite down at our camp, which is great. But every time we go to camp, I have a dog, so I have to run around and make sure that I've got the Just One Bite picked up.
Yeah, he's not
So-
breaking into this.
But that's great.
But yeah, the reason why the screw is because you might have a raccoon.
They're
They're kind of
hands.
smart, and they
Yeah.
might be able to pull it open.
Oh, and they will.
You know,
What a neat idea.
and the only thing that'll fit in there is smaller little vermin.
Mm-hmm. The
Um,
ones that could leave the droppings all over your kitchen
Yeah.
countertop.
Yeah.
we knock on wood. We haven't had a mouse in there in probably 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
No kidding.
And you can.
Well,
yeah,
Well, that's
I
when
mean,
we
it is-
started this program.
started this
We
program.
Smart.
sealed up every possible hole,
Well, I
Yeah.
saw I saw all the
and
chicken wire.
you got to keep them out. Then you can
Exactly.
start killing the ones that are inside.
that are there and have made a
And
home.
once they're killed, you got to keep the rest of them out. And what we
Exactly.
do is we send them over there before.
There you go.
And Jack,
You can leave a trail of breadcrumbs or
peanut butter. No, it's a joke. It's a joke. Jack on his front porch. He has bird feeders. I'm like,
Which is just
dude,
calling them.
You just yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
all right.
there are some bear in the area, so
These
you don't
locks.
want to feed them.
My brother, being my brother, he's a nice guy. Love him. But you see that? Took the lock off. Took the other lock off. He's trying to pull the garage door up and nothing's happening. I'm like,
Hello.
because you can also lock it open.
Oh,
okay.
jeez.
So he was
gotta
like,
make
oh yeah, I
sure.
took the lock off. I'm like, yeah, well,
Well,
you're
yeah,
not
that's
doing
perfect.
anything. This door is actually from a
So use a storage unit.
yeah, self-storage
Oh,
place.
no kidding.
That's why it has 2 lock holes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You don't pay your rent. I put my lock on.
That's awesome. I didn't know that. That's really interesting. That's pretty cool.
But it's space
Overland
saving.
door in Syracuse put that in.
Yeah, it's space
neat.
saving. So you don't have like a regular garage door. And originally, we would have with a
That's-
regular garage door, we had pieces hanging from the ceiling
Yeah.
to hold up the rails and everything else. And then he got on the Google foo and found that.
That's a great idea.
So
It's a real.
smart.
It's
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
and down.
Super good idea.
But yeah, there's another one of these poison boxes under there. And then what?
I'll give her the number for Griffiths.
Okay. Just wait. Open it up.
Griffiths Propane or Griffiths Energy. They're in Rome. 315-337-5540.
Thank you very much.
All right, I'm gonna give them a call tomorrow. We don't have a closing date yet.
Right.
So
Once Jason gets all the paperwork together and stuff, though.
once we have a closing date, well, first I'll contact them tomorrow and see if we can just transfer the account, rather than have them come here and drain the propane and take the cylinders.
That's all they'll do. Yeah, they'll just they'll put what they'll do is they'll bill you for what's left in it, and then you know what I mean, give him the credit
Yeah.
back. So that's just a wash.
Yeah, so that's a little less drama you have to
I
deal with.
appreciate it. That'd be smooth sailing. Thank you.
You know.
I think